He's basically telling us to bear afflictions patiently. Bear afflictions patiently. The story interplays itself as we learn about God's purpose and human decisions alongside being faithful and obedient. Why am I using this book as an example? Because without looking between the lines, it's not completely displayed when you read it as it is. I go back to my own experience, and I'll keep this short. About 2 years ago, I was fired. When I was writing this piece, I was like, I couldn't even say fired. I got fired. I thought I was doing things right. I was serving in ministry, attending Bible studies. I thought my purpose was aligned. Then I was struck with the news of, nah, you gotta go. I didn't do anything wrong. I literally was fired. I remember going home in shock, phoning my friends. I got fired, and they're just like, they laughed because they couldn't believe it. Kyla came home from school. Kyla's my daughter, and I told her, and she was like, everything's gonna be all right, Mum, everything's gonna be all right. My friend came round, and we was watching TV, and I realized I was there, but I wasn't there. I wasn't present. Like, I was watching it, but no, the dots weren't connecting. In my head, as weeks went by, I was thinking, how am I going to survive? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do Christmas? I slowly started to feel myself going into a depression. I attended church, acted out my ministry duties, said hello, laughed and giggled, looked the part, smelled the part, but inside of me, all the pieces of my jigsaw had been scattered. Inside of me, my physical and emotional well-being was in carnage. It was like God said, everything is not aligned with you, Coleen. This is not where you're supposed to be. So he took my jigsaw and he scattered them. It felt like he was saying to me, go find the pieces and put them back together with the faith that I gave you in the beginning. Stop leaning on your own understanding. Like Naomi, I was at a point when I couldn't look for those pieces. It was a tragedy to me. I was in despair. Tragedy had struck me differently. I remember saying to Kyla, do you know what, Kyla? I think you should go and live with your dad because I can't actually afford to put food in the fridge or do anything. And she turned to me and she goes, no, Mum, I'm going to stay here with you. This was the point. She doesn't know this. This was the point when I realized Kyla was my Ruth. Kyla was my Ruth. She didn't leave me, but she prayed over me and nurtured my spirit without realizing, reminding me to connect back with my faith. She sat at the edge of the bed sometimes telling me how her school day was because I just looked a hot mess. A few of my friends were Boazes. Don't think, oh, it's romance. No. A Boaz out of loyalty, generosity, and faithfulness. To know that through it all, I had someone to check me and keep me in line with my faith. To check my goals that I thought about before losing my job. You actually don't realize how God is working in the midst of people. How he placed people in our lives at different times and different seasons. To really break the pieces of us, but to also help us put them back together. He's helping you, help me, help others fulfill your purpose and to find your calling. I thought I was walking correctly in 2016, but I was so wrong. I didn't realize there was a part of me and my lifestyle that had to be broken down, torn apart, and removed to help me discover my true relationship with God, and I can honestly say that. Whether it was within my job, my career, my goals, parenting, relationship, I had to lose to gain. Now, after finding all the pieces and putting it back together, I'm in so much of a better place, but I'm not going to go there. But if you knew me before and you saw me now, you'd instantly say, I've changed. But that's because God has shifted and moved my steps. It may seem easy as I'm talking to you now, like I just went over and switched on a light switch, but no, the struggle was real. I've condensed all this information, but all of us has a struggle. All of us has a pain. All of us has a tragedy. Before the tragedy, I thought I was okay. How do you know what's truly wrong if you don't realize you have to die to be reborn? How do you truly realize a part of you, a part of me, has to die to be reborn? How do you know the part of you which looks so perfect, looks and feels so perfect, needs to be destroyed, molded back together to see if what you thought was perfect was truly perfect? You formed your whole identity on who you thought you should be. You're comfortable, or you've learned to numb pain and find instances to replace it. You convince yourself you're good the way things are. Yes, you got to make changes, but not now. To now, how I am, that works for me. Then you come face to face, as Alex was telling us. Then you come face to face with someone who walks with Christ, or someone who has a divine connection. Then someone who face to face with pain or struggle. Then you come face to face with losing something you thought you put together. When you come face to face with that pain, with that struggle, aligned with someone who's somewhat walking with Christ or has Christ covering them, you can't help but want that image. I couldn't have come here and stood up and looked at Alex and thought, yeah, I love living this life of going to parties. You would have checked me as I was sitting there. As I came in this house, I would have been like, no, I'm not living right, but boy, I need to evaluate myself. So those people, your image right now, it's just a natural glow. When you started speaking, I was like, I want that glow. I want what you've got right now. He is feeding you so well that I want to be walking in the steps that you're walking. It's easy for us to sit in the pews and be like, yeah, it looks good. But all of us really know there's certain people who we look at and admire. Not the image, not from what's on outside, it's what's on the inside that we see. When you're walking with Christ, he gives you a glow. All of us have a different glow. And you look and you smile and you're like, oh, I really like that person. You don't know why you like that person. It's what God has put on them, what you like. Even though some of us serve in ministries, work in different industries, it doesn't mean this is forever or what God has called us to do. Some of us already know where we are is not where we're supposed to be. Some of us sit on the fence. Some of us are cleanly over the wall because we don't want to be hypocrites. Whatever stage you are at, know that God has not finished working on you. We are not all at the same stage, as Alex said, because I could not be running no 3,000 meters. I would sign up for the 200, that was me. But I would watch in the distance and be like, I admire you. When I began at NTA for a good while, I thought I knew who I was. Over time, mixing with like-minded individuals and focusing more on the word and not just Sunday sermon, I realized my whole identity was shifting. The people around me were shifting and moving. Not that I'm not talking to them no more, I just realized I had to take myself out of certain situations. If I really wanted to take a leap, I had to change how I was walking and what I was doing. I then took the bold step and studied theology, and it just changed my whole experience with God. It wasn't just about church anymore, it was about experiencing God. I experienced him. If you lot know me, you know I'm a bubbly, loud character. And over time, I've sort of come down a bit. I'm still up there, but, you know, for some, the identity shift happens instantly. When they come to Christ, it just happens, you know, they get saved and God, I'm here 24/7, 7 days a week. For me, it was like a roller coaster. I started on a high when I got saved, sat on the fence a few times, dipped when life or financial, relationship, parenting strains hit me. Then when I lost my job, I took the biggest dip into a black hole, lost myself completely. It felt like forever burying my tragedy. But I came out the other side, and you know what? I haven't looked back. And I see many of you today that I know you have gone on the roller coaster. You have taken the journey, and you have just sat patiently knowing that those hurdles is not forever. we realize it's not about answering my prayer request or your prayer request. It's about experiencing and receiving him through every season. So as we dip on the roller coaster, we know it was experience a love I never felt, an unconditional love, one no one else could come up against. There are many people who walk through these doors at NTA on a roller coaster, battling with their identity. Whether they come for the first time or have been coming consecutively for months or years, all of us are on different parts of the roller coaster. However, we come in hiding that pain. We come in and we don't bring it to the forefront. We walk through the doors and we realize, everything that I thought I was, I'm going to hide. Outside, people accept us, tolerate our behaviors, and it's allowed for us to be whoever we want to be. Whereas in church, we may look the bomb, all clean, shaven, fresh, nails, hair, shoes, all done. We walk strong, we worship. Some of us even speak in tongues and raise hands. However, inside, some of us, the pieces are just all over the place. We have pieces of the puzzle missing, but no one can see. We come in covering all our imperfections using our exterior, and in fact, we have a gift to even cover us, but we take advantage of that and use it to cover what is actually lost inside. We block our convictions and give off a perfect perception, but unless we trust you or get lashed, we are not talking to you. We're not letting you know what's going on inside. People from a distance are looking at us and are admiring because they think everything is together. But we are truly screaming inside. Pieces are missing. We are still learning. We're still scared. We're still trying to slow down and leave the outside activities. Still struggling to believe, will he do it for me? Some of us don't even think we're worthy, so we just continue to cover all our imperfections. The book starts with loyalty. It then goes into sadness, rejection, and disappointment. Through the time of sadness and disappointment, some of us need a Ruth and a Boaz to help us hatch a plan and rebuild what we've lost. We need these people to remind us that God is with us and he will never forsake us. Now, through all of this, we realize we want to make a difference. We want to make a change. We also want to be the Ruth and the Boaz to someone. I want to change my mindset. I want to take a brave step. I want to keep myself fueled with the passion of Christ. So when I walk into church and when I serve in ministry, the person I am inside is the same person I am outside. I walk in bearing my imperfections and I ask him to take full control. I don't want to sit on the fence. I don't want to be cleanly over the other side as we move around like a Naomi. That Ruth or Boaz will be the person who challenges us, kicks us up, and says, it's time to level up. If you don't have those friends in your life, you need to shift your circle. It doesn't mean you don't talk to these people. It just means you move a little differently. For people also in church, not everyone you need to move with. We need our Ruth and our Boazes to check us once in a blue moon. By checking us, it allows us to question what we are doing, how we are living and serving. It is time I need to go to the next level of my identity. Why am I waiting? Why am I sitting on the fence? Why am I making excuses? Why am I remaining in this hole I put myself in? I want to improve my current situation in a way that causes me to receive a powerful shift. I want to progress like Mario Kart, who plays it, or fantasy football. I want to be, in first or second place, knowing that I am going to get to the next level because I have enough points or enough money. Some of us feel like we're playing the same level over and over and over again. We promise ourselves to leave the job, but a year later, we still haven't updated the CV. We say, I'm going to buy property, but we still haven't corrected our credit. We make all these excuses and then push ourselves down. There comes a point when we need someone to tell us, fix up. If Ruth didn't stick with Naomi, what would have happened? The tragedy would have just gone on and on and on. She would have never found humility. Ruth would have never found a new love or family. We shouldn't wallow in sadness because it's only for a season. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small in settling for a life that is less than one you are capable of living." If you are in a place where you don't know who you are, I'm just going to make you understand there's 4 levels of identity. Monatorium is when you know that you need to find an identity, but you don't know what you want to do yet. So you actively test and investigate different options. So one day you're this person, the next day you're that. No one really knows who you are because you don't know yourself who you are. There's diffusion. You have to consciously think about your identity and act wild and always out of character. And you don't think it's necessary to even have an identity. You have foreclosure. This is an identity that someone else has chosen for you. This is not your identity. Your friend or family member has chosen who you are living out right now. And then there's achievement. You thought about what you want to do with your life and have the plan and path of how to do it. So you know you want to walk with Christ and you know how you're going to walk with Christ. We are shaped by our cultural experiences and stories. Stories which tell us who we are, what life's about, what we shouldn't and should value. For Christians, it's our faith that provides us with an alternative story and calls us to place a sense, values, direction, and meaning. Ephesians 1:3-14, Paul addresses the church of Ephesus, explaining the identity given to a person when they are in Christ. And we need to remind ourselves of this. It lets us know and reminds us we have been blessed with every spiritual blessing. We have been chosen, adopted, redeemed, forgiven, lavished unconditionally, given grace, loved, and accepted. We are pure, we are blameless, and we are forgiven. When we remain in the Word, when we remain in prayer, when we are surrounded by aspiring Christian leaders and following through on His instructions, the instructions that He's given us, the instructions that no one else knows, but the whispers that He places in your ears, these aspects of our identity cannot be altered by what we do. I say this when it is time for us, and the time for many of us today, it's time we look within ourselves and say, have I come too complacent with the Christian I am acting out today? Have I come complacent with just sitting on the fence and enjoying outside, inside, the club, the church? Have we told ourselves repeatedly we are not good enough to the point we've ignored faith and are just doing ourselves the same thing over and over and over again? Have we come too complacent with the identity someone else has created for us? Have we come to a place or a time where God is saying to us, we need to level up our identity? Let me rediscover who I am. Is it time we elevate to the next level? Before you leave here today, start to question who you are. Maybe as you've sat here, certain flashbacks of certain situations of God, when God may have spoken to you, or you've got yourself in certain situations and you're like, I so shouldn't have done that. You've made certain decisions and you're like, why did I make that decision? You've put yourself in awkward places. You're living a life you don't want to live, but you just live it because it works and it's the easiest way for you. Maybe as you sat here, we want to change our jobs. We may want to change our career path, how we raise our children, who we date. We may want to change our circle. When you do make those decisions, when you do, define your big step. What are you about to do in 2019 so you are not complacent? That wall that has been broken down, when that wall has broken down, when you're walking through that wall, what difference are you going to make to who you are? So when you define that big step, you then say yes. Say yes to the things that force you to level up. I forced myself to go into the gym. Well, I'm swimming now. Because I realized when I looked at my goals list, fitness was on it for the last 5 years. Tell me when the last time I went to the gym. It must have been about 3 years ago. So I put it at the top of my goals. Don't laugh at me, Coleen. I put it at the top of my goals. And you see, when January come, whether I had the money or not, I was like, I'm going swimming. I cannot make another excuse. Because I've made the excuses. So I'm charging you define that step. You don't need to tell anyone, you define that step. You force yourself to go to the next level. Acknowledge your fears. Inhale your future. Exhale your past. Visualize yourself at the next level. Visualize yourself at the next level. Not who you was, who you are going to be. The wall has come down. God has promised us. He's given us the vision. And when you receive vision, it's not about the past, it's about the future. So when you receive the vision, you're supposed to be looking at yourself within that vision. Because that is where you want to be. And if you visualize yourself where you want to be, you are going to be that person because you visualized it and you're planning to walk that way. So you visualize yourself at that next level. And when you've uplifted yourself, go to your neighbor and uplift them. Don't keep it to yourself. We are all in here struggling. Don't keep the glory to yourself. We always need to raise someone up. Because there's many of us that walk through the door and we look good, we smell the part, but inside of us, everything is scattered. And some of us may have more pieces than others. It doesn't matter. Some of us may not look the same way, but many of us need a healing. Many of us need a Ruth. And not all of us will know who the Ruth is. The Ruth doesn't have to be a family member. It doesn't even have to be a friend. It could be Doris, who sits there every Sunday at church, 60 years old, and just places a hand on your shoulder and say, you know what? What's your number? I just want to talk to you. That could be your Ruth. Your Boaz is someone, he doesn't want to date you. He just wants to talk to you because he realized you need to be spoken to. You look like you need a brother in your life. Doesn't mean I want to date you. You just need someone to guide you. So when certain men are talking to you, I can be that brother to say, you know what? He's no good for you. So elevate your neighbor. And I'm going to leave you with this. I put this together when I was in Thailand on a speedboat. You are on a speedboat. The water is life, and the tide is different struggles and obstacles we face. Sometimes it's smooth sailing, and other times the tide is so rough, we feel like we're going to be sick, fall off, or not make it. However, we can't get off because we're halfway to our destination. We can't turn back, so we need to sail until we reach our destination. Through our persistence, we know not to let go of the steering wheel. The waves will part and the tide will become easier to ride. When we reach our island, the island is bliss because we made it. Opportunities and new adventures and tests will arise. This will be where we'll get the chance to upgrade our boat, maybe to a yacht. Some of us will just be comfortable and stick with what we've got. Some of us won't want to leave this island and become complacent. But my God-fearing Christians will hand in the deposit, walk in faith, collect the keys to the yacht, and start a new journey from where they know they will be going. They'll be presented with new waves and new tides, but that doesn't stop them. The island looks bliss from a distance. I want to reach it. Who is with me? Who is with me? All aboard? All aboard? All aboard? I'm just going to tell you, not everyone will be able to make the journey with you. Not everyone will be able to make the journey with you. God gave you the right boat, the right life jacket, the knowledge on how to ride the wave, and the faith to know how to reach your destination. Not all of us are built the same way. Some of us will easily become seasick. Some of us will be too scared to take the next step. I say to you, don't leave them. Some of them will admire you and think, how they go from the little boat to the speedboat to the yacht? And don't sit there and take all the glory. Even if it looks like, I really don't want to talk to you. Just say, brother or sister, you want to join me on my yacht? They might say yes, they might say no, but you say, do you know what? Christ is walking with me, and I want to share and rub off some of what I've got. So you know what? We are on the same level. So when I come into Christ, I'm not feeling all high and mighty. I'm bringing everyone on my yacht because it's big enough for all of us to get on. So when you're there all glorified, God has changed you and you're receiving everything, you can speak in tongues. Do you know what? Bring another sister and teach another sister. Bring another brother and teach another brother. Don't keep it to yourself. It doesn't mean you have to chat your business. But if you see someone sitting over there and they look like they're in despair, go over and say, are you okay? Let's just exchange numbers. Come on my boat. Without faith, nothing is possible, because faith is having the confidence in what we hope for and assurance for what we are doing. Hebrews 11:1. I'm telling you now, go get your keys, unlock your identity, start the ignition to your speedboat, and ride the wave and level up. As you take a moment to think about the boat you're on, or if you're even on a speedboat, have I got to a point where I'm ready to upgrade? Have I got to a point where I'm ready to turn the ignition? Do I even want to ride a new wave? Do I understand and believe that the tide that I'm on is only for a